Hey Taurus, and welcome to your basically bi-weekly reading. So we are looking at the period of time from the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio in tropical and in Libra in sidereal. I don't know why I'm feeling two cards there. So we're going to go with that. And then also, let's pull some spiritual advice. So from the full moon lunar eclipse to the new moon, so that period of time, which is roughly 2 weeks, you know, it's astrology, so it's not like linear time. So taking a look at that, interesting that we have this showing up for your spiritual advice. So if you want to know more about the eclipse, like I literally just put the videos out for the month of May a few days ago, right? So close to the beginning of the month, and I did talk about this astrology, and I talked about the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse specifically in more detail, and like why this is important, what you can expect. So I'll have that up on the screen towards the end of this video, and you can just go click over there and like listen to that. It has timestamps, so you can just check that out. So that said, so that I don't just like repeat all of the information that I went through in those videos, let's just dive into this period of time and what we can expect, right? Now, let's also remember that during this period of time, the Mercury is going to station direct. I find that really interesting because we have the retrograde card showing up, as well as the Gemini card, which is ruled by Mercury. So interesting, like a Mercury ruled sign with the retrograde card, and it happens to currently be retrograde and will be moving direct. So here are a couple things that I'm seeing as like what to consider. You know, all things aside, like I said, I'm not going to go into the astrology a bunch, but let's just say that this full moon lunar eclipse, it really has to do with release, right? With letting go and release and facing a bunch of different things, right? And with that, with any kind of release, we often need to review. And that's what comes up with the retrograde. It's like reviewing, revising, revisioning, all the re's, right? This is a time where not everyone, depending on your chart, like not everyone feels every single Mercury retrograde really intensely, right? It depends on other things that are happening celestially. It depends on your planets in your chart. So depending on whether you feel that or not, this is a time that you might have felt like things have slowed down a bit, or like things aren't moving as quickly as you want them to. And believe it or not, even if that's annoying or frustrating, that is there to help us slow down so that we have time to make sure that we check in with ourselves and say like, hey, is this what I really want to be creating? Is this like the plan? Like, have I looked over every aspect of this? Does this really all make sense? Is it all in alignment with my values? You know, all of these different kinds of themes, you know, especially because the Mercury retrograde is, I believe, gosh, it's in Taurus, right? Yes, it's in Taurus. I had to think about that. So it's like the values and all of this, right? So, and with Gemini, you know, Gemini energy, I feel like is very mercurial, right? Gemini is definitely, I feel, more about connections and social aspects, and also about communication, about writing, about the things that help us express ourselves in those ways, right? We can definitely get messages during this period of time, like with Mercury being the messenger. And Mercury also rules like commerce and, you know, travel, right? So like these are all things that maybe are coming up for you, maybe for some of you, but more so what I want to say is like, this is a time to review, right? This is a time to make sure that you're taking that time to slow down and review. And I feel like it's just really emphasized and very on point here. So let's also take a look at what spiritual advice is coming through. This is another card that feels very in like a similar vein as what we were just talking about, right? The 9 of Wands can be a card where, like, there are a couple of different choices here, right? Like you can either be the weary, wounded warrior, or you can be the seasoned warrior who has the stamina, endurance to use their wisdom from previous battles and press on, right? And so part of the underlying theme in this particular card is making sure that you're taking care of your health, right? So you want to make sure that, you know, especially around eclipses, people can get kind of like fried, a little bit fried, their wires get fried, right? So it's just kind of making sure that you're getting enough rest, getting enough water, like nourishing yourself, like all the different things. Sometimes, like, especially if we're having things that slow us down a bit, we can feel like frustrated and feel like the desire to push too hard. And so you want to make sure that you're not like burning yourself out, right? The other thing about the Nine of Wands is that we, it's best if we can like really glean from our past battles, our past experiences, all of the wisdom that took us to get through all of the hurdles and everything else, all the speed bumps that it took, the battles to get us to this particular point, and to allow that to help us move forward. Because essentially part of this message that your spiritual advice is like, hey, it's not time to put down your staff yet. Like, you're not done. There's still like another spot. You have another place to go. Like, there's more to go. So it's not time yet to stop completely. And that's not what retrogrades are. Retrogrades aren't like being stopped. It's just slowing things down and really looking at things. So I feel like definitely it's slow down energy here. And the thing about the new moon or the full moon to the new moon is like, without even a lunar eclipse, it would just be energy of like waning energy, right? So this is a time where we would normally be releasing things anyhow, right? Allowing things to like go that need to go, finishing things up, definitely things like that. And so during this period of time, I feel like this energy is kind of very much in line with that. It's just saying like, hey, just slow it down a little bit. Make sure that you look over everything that you need to, make sure that it feels aligned. Know that it's not like time to stop, but you do want to make sure that you're paying attention to your health and your vitality so that you can continue to go. And make sure you're building it off of like your wisdom and your values, especially with the other planetary things that are going on. So I would say if this is your sun sign, watch your rising sign, if you want to get more of the full picture. Definitely, I would say this is an important lunar eclipse, I believe. And so if you want to know a bit more about that, I have timestamps in that video and it'll be up here on the screen so you can check it out. So obviously it's a collective reading. It's not going to hit for every Taurus, rising Taurus, sun sign. So, watch your other sign if this one doesn't resonate. Or if you really want to get specific, that's what personal one-to-one readings are for. All that's in the description box below. So I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.